What is up, friends, families, and wannabe lovers? We are back with another Conquest guide, this time for Conquest number 22. Satele Shan is coming to the game tomorrow, or really, I should say 3 months from now, because that is how long it takes for us to actually be able to unlock her. For those of you that don't know, Satele Shan is from Star Wars The Old Republic, and if my history lessons serve me correctly, I believe she is either the great granddaughter or the great great granddaughter of Bastille Shan and Revan. A lot of players believe that her coming to the game signals an old Republic era coming. I don't see it that way. I think that she is just intended to lift the characters that are already in the game. And it seems like she is going to be a The Stranger counter, which is really nice because he is so beyond silly and so infuriating on defense in high level play that we need her now more than ever. With that in mind, I want to give us a couple of notes for this conquest. Number one, Relic Delta is still not active. Meathead has confirmed that, though we're not sure if that's for the entire cycle or just for this first conquest in the cycle. And there will be a new data disk that is supposed to help players to farm when Relic Delta is active. Presumably, they are testing that right now. This looks to be a fairly easy conquest overall. If you've already been red or gold crating, you shouldn't have too much problems. But as always, you can pop into our Slice of Otagunga Discord, and there are plenty of high level and smarter than me players out there that love walking everybody through their conquest feats to get them as high as possible. So, with all of that in mind, let's get started. All right. Well, something to keep in mind is if this is your first time looking at one of my guides, we have two infographics for every one of the sectors. The first infographic is basically what I am going to be doing, and the second infographic is trying to keep in mind more of a mid to late game player and helping them get through the conquest as well. So if you're at the end game and you're looking at this first slide and you're going, hey, wow, this is really great, I can do those things. Awesome. If you are not in the end game and you look at that second slide, hopefully there is an option that works for you. Let's check out these global feats first. Defeat 250 enemies on the challenge path. Attempt to inflict evasion down 80 times. Win 20 battles with Keller and Beck. Gain accuracy up 80 times. Win 20 battles with full bounty hunters. Call 60 assists with booming voice. Gain profit 100 times. And complete a battle with deployable cooling systems. Keep in mind that defeat 250 enemies on the challenge path is now only awarding one burrito, but it is awarding the new data disk that is going to help you farm by not allowing characters to die in order to get buffs and debuffs. It's also important to note that those 14 additional burritos are being dispersed along all of the other global feats for a net the same for most players. Now, if you're in the mid game, that can be problematic because the challenge path is an easy 15 burritos, and if you can't do something else there, it may make things a little bit more difficult for you. Let's take a look at our Sector 1 feats. Take 50 bonus turns, attempt to inflict potency down 50 times, win 10 battles with Silvo and Vane surviving, and defeat 35 enemies with any Han. So how am I going to do this? First of all, my Gungans, accuracy up on Boomadire's second special, and bonus turns from Jar Jar's unique. Get this done in like 2 battles, sometimes 1 if you're lucky. My Queen Amidala squad, bonus turns from GMY, potency down from GMY, evasion down, and accuracy up from Pow's Omicron, and I'm going to win battles with Keller and Beck. I want to start those early so I don't have to rely on them later on. Pirate King Hondo with Captain Silvo, Vane, Brutus, and SM33. I'll get my survival feat. There are some bonus turns with Brutus and SM33, but they're not that much. There's only a couple of them, so don't rely on that too heavily. Evasion down from Silvo's basic. Gaining profit is a pirate core mechanic. That'll be done in a battle. I will be surprised if it takes you 2 battles to do that. And then I'm going to throw in a Jabba team without Skiff because Skiff is not a bounty hunter. So I want to do Jabba, Kursatan, Zam, Wessel, SWGOH, and probably Cad Bane or Embo for potency down from Qursatan, evasion down from Qursatan, win with bounty hunters, and Zam's AoE also gives evasion down. My JML squad, I'm going to throw a Han in here. I want it to be any Han except for regular Han Solo because I'm going to be using Han Solo in the next sector and I don't want him low on stamina. I'm kind of annoyed by this feat just because any other defeat enemies feat can be it can be done naturally. If defeat 35 enemies with Gungans, I can do a Gungan squad. Defeat 35 enemies with Old Republic, I can do an Old Republic squad. I don't want to, but I can. Defeat 35 enemies with Han, you're not throwing 5 Han Solos together. Maybe you'll be able to get one battle done with that, but at 90 stamina, you're going to be screwed. So there, I have Jedi Master Luke, any Han other than Han Solo, Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, Jedi Knight Luke, and Hermit Yoda. I'm going to get potency down from Grandmaster Yoda and kill enemies with Han. I'm also going to get bonus turns from Jedi Knight Cal Kestis. Let's look at some of my other picks for Sector 1 here. There we go. We have our Jedi Master Luke team with Grandmaster Yoda in it now instead. Now, if we look down at the bottom, you will see I have a list of on-basic characters. You can throw any one of these characters in on Grandmaster Yoda's spot in order to work on that specific buff or debuff. This team is going to give me potence down from Jedi Master Yoda, Grandmaster Yoda's basic, and bonus turns from his AoE, as well as Jedi Knight Cal Kestis getting bonus turns too. I can do a Third Sister or a Grand Inquisitor squad and get potency down from Nine Sisters AoE, bonus turns from GI when you get to max purge stacks, and accuracy up from Eighth Brother. Now, this is an interesting one that I've never tried before, a Papa Palp team, but in the 5th slot, throwing in Maul. For bonus turns, Merciless Massacre gets you them pretty quickly. But I had a thought of doubling up on that with getting Maul in there as well for all of his bonus turns. I think it'll work, but if it doesn't, you can also do Maul Mandalorians. For my pirate team, I am doing Captain Athano, Quiggled, Vane, Captain Silvo, and Brutus. Vane and Silvo surviving, bonus turns from Brutus, but again, you don't get very many. Evasion down from Silvo's basic, and you are going to gain profit. There are some cheeses that you can do to get profit really quick. I'm not too concerned with cheesing this because it's a global feat. I know Kix is really great at cheesing this because he gets profit every turn, but he also takes away profit every turn. But again, because we're doing this over 5 sectors, it's not something that I feel the need to say, hey, let's get this done in one battle. Moving on to Sector 2, win 10 battles with no tanks in your squad, attempt to inflict daze 40 times, win 10 battles with Omega Fugitive and Batcher, and attempt to inflict buff immunity 40 times. Now, a quick note, win 10 battles with no tanks is also in Sector 4, and I don't know if that's a bug or not, but that's what it is in the data mine. So I'm kind of half expecting either Sector 2 or Sector 4 to be like win 10 battles with only tanks, and I really hope not because that is one of my least favorite feats in the game. Let's just pray it's this because this is not so bad. I'm going to be using a new batch team here with no new batch wrecker and throwing Echo in there instead so that I can get win with no tanks, my Omega and Batcher survive feat, inflicting daze from Hunter's unique and Echo's AoE, and inflicting buff immunity from Echo's special. So this is a really, really nice one, and I love my new batch squad. Once again, I'm going to be leaning on my Jabba team for win with no tanks and inflicting buff immunity from Jabba's second special as well as win with bounty hunters. My CLS team is a great win with no tanks team. You will also get a small amount of buff immunity from CLS's first special, and you will get evasion down 80 times from Chupio's basic. That he assists every turn, so that's going to come relatively quickly. My JML team is going to be Kelleran Beck, Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, Cam, and Jedi Knight Anakin. My buff immunities from JML's basic and Jedi Knight Anakin's basic. My inflict daze 40 times from JML's special and Jedi Knight Cal Kestis' AoE. And I'm going to win with Kelleran Beck. I think that Cam does buff immunity or daze. I'm not 100% sure of which one. Let's take a look. I think I took it out, but I'm using Cam either way. Quadame is a great option for win with no tanks because the summoned tank does not count at all, which is really nice. Inflicting daze with Pow's first special, inflicting buff immunity from Master Qui-Gon special and the Pow Omicron, evasion down from the Pow Omicron, and gaining accuracy up from QA special and the Pow Omicron. So if you have the Omicron, this is going to go doubly as fast. If you don't have the Omicron, it is still a really nice team to use in this sector. For my other picks for Sector 2, a Bo-Katan Mandalorian squad for days, a Grand Inquisitor or Third Sister squad for inflicting daze and inflicting buff immunity, but you're not going to get a lot of buff immunity this way, and either a Malgus or a Darth Revan led squad for buff immunity from Revan on basic. I like to kill like 2 characters and then I hit auto basic and I just let it go for a while, and evasion down from Bastille's special, as well as Assassin's Basic. Here are some good no-tank teams that typically work really well. Night Sisters without Zombie, Gas, take 5s out, throw in Captain Rex, a perfectly normal Star Killer team, and Imperial Troopers for the early game, but honestly, I don't think it's going to work unless you have Ruthless Swiftnesses and Leaders Resolves in order to jumpstart that TM train really, really quickly. As always, on the bottom, here are some buff and debuffs on basic teams that you can use, where you just throw JML in the lead spot with a bunch of Jedi, and you can get any one of those things taken care of. Moving on to Sector 3, gain tenacity up 60 times, win 10 battles with SM33 surviving, win 10 battles with no attackers on your squad, and win 10 battles with Forlom and Zuckuss surviving. Now, my Night Sisters team, amazing for this. There are no attackers on that team. Love it. I'm going to do that nice and early just to get a couple out of the way. My Pirate King Hondo team, Pirate King Hondo, SM33, Quiggled Kicks, and another random pirate. Profit is a core mechanic and tenacity up from SM33, Quick Kicks, and Quiggled, right? Beautiful. You could take out, I think the only one in here that is not an who is an attacker is SM33. If we get like Zealous Ambition, you could throw SM33 out the window, put in Maz, and honestly like Captain Silvo, and you could also get win without attackers. My JML squad with Hermit Ezra, Grandmaster Yoda, Obi-Wan, and General Kenobi for gain tenacity up. Ezra gives this to Jedis. GMY's AoE buff will spread that around. Win with no attackers, and evasion down from Old Ben's basic. Now, when it comes to survival feats, we've done things a little differently here. Survival feats always work best with Galactic Legends, but we don't know what data discs we're getting yet, right? If Zealous Ambition is available, Ahsoka works really well with General Syndulla, who has an AoE and is a support and can wipe the board. Leia is also a great tank. Captain Rex can completely wipe the board with his AoE as well. So if Zealous Ambition is an option, this is where I'm going with it. If Amplify Agony is an option and I can get like 3 of those right off of the bat, Lord Vader is going to be my option to get everybody down to like 1 health. And then something like Fifth Brother or anything that has an AoE to take them all out while my 2 are safe. And SLKR pretty much works for anybody else. Because Forlom and Zuckuss are not light side, you're not going to really use them with JML. You're not going to really use them with Rey. Going into my other Sector 3 ideas here, Bo-Katan, we can get tenacity up from Beskar Mando's second special. I just want to check something really, really quick on here. From his right special, yes. So you'll get a couple of tenacities up from Beskar Mandalorian. It's not a lot, but if your team is getting hit hard, you will be able to get a decent amount of damage immunities in a turn. My Queen Amidala team, I think, is just the better option. We want a Galactic Republic that is not a scoundrel in there. You could throw in Keller and... Oh, no, we don't want to throw in Keller and Beck. Well, we can, actually. We can because we already have an attacker. You could throw in Keller and Beck to also get wins with Keller and Beck. Tenacity up from QA's second special with Decoy already present, right? So it shouldn't be too hard to get. And if you kind of auto basic through, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Third Sister and Grand Inquisitor and your Inquisitor team gain tenacity up with GI's second special. If you have 3 purge that you are dispelling, he will use it on himself. If you have 6 purge that you are dispelling, he will AoE it to the whole team. So obviously you want to wait for that AoE. Leia works really well without attackers. I did Leia, Captain Rex, R2, Mon Mothma, and C3PO. It's going to be a little bit low damage, but I think between Leia and Captain Rex, you should be fine. If there's a Zealous Ambition, Captain Rex will completely wipe the board and you won't have to worry about it. For JML, as long as you throw in tank or support Jedi, also you should be completely fine because all of the damage is coming from JML's protection and the granted ability. Again, on the bottom here, some really great options for being able to apply these buffs and debuffs with JML in the lead spot to make this super easy, right? Instead of wasting turns with like a Bo-Katan team, you throw in whatever Ewok that is. I think it's Tebow, and you will get those tenacities up super, super fast. Moving into Sector 4, win 10 battles with a full squad of pirates, gain evasion up 60 times, win 10 battles with no tanks on your squad, and win 10 battles with Crosshair surviving. I am again going to lean on my pirate team. I'm going to go Pirate King Hondo, Kix, Silvo, Brutus, and Maz. And the reason I'm doing that is so that I can get win with no tanks. Evasion up from Kix is unique. Conditionally, it sometimes happens. Win with full pirates and gain profit. I have Maz kind of in here because if Zealous Ambition is there, having all of those supports is just going to make this super, super, super easy. Once again, I have my new batch team, but I'm going to take Batcher out this time to throw in Echo so I can win with Crosshair surviving and gain evasion up from Echo's basic and AoE. Now, I also have a Grand, oh my goodness, Grand. I also have a Jedi Master Kenobi team in here, again with Keller and Beck, but I'm throwing Crosshair in because what's going to end up with that new batch squad is they're going to do really well for like 3 or 4 battles, and then they're going to be lower stamina, and I'm going to have to wait, and I don't like to wait. So I'm going to throw Crosshair into my JMK squad to get some win with surviving on this one. Gain evasion up from Cat's first special, Shien, and win with Keller and Beck as well as my Crosshair surviving. Once again, I will throw Jabba in there with no tank just to get more bounty hunter wins in, as well as no tank teams in there as well. Here are some more good no tank teams. It is basically the same as slide 2, except the addition of some teams that we did have in those slides elsewhere. So just options if you don't know what you're going to do for no tank teams. Our other picks for Sector 4, a Maz team, it is now 6 months since you were able to start getting her shards, so it's not unreasonable to have Maz. But a Maz team with Kix, Quiggled, SM33, who's now 9 months past, and Captain Athano will give you gain profit, win with full pirates, and gain evasion up. You could do an Athano team if you do not have Maz yet. Evasion up from Kix. Vane does it a little bit, but not too much. Win with full pirates and gain profit as, again, the core mechanic. You can also do a traditional Bad Batch team, but by Sector 4, this is going to be a tough one, and you're going to need to look for super easy nodes like other Bad Batch nodes, or have a leader's ambition, leader's resolve to make sure that you get that first turn. Because this survival feat is for one character, it does open up some more options. We see the same options that we had here before in the last slide, so we won't talk about it again, but we can talk about doing JML and Watt here to force the taunt onto JML. We can also talk about Rey here because Rey is going to make it a lot harder for Crosshair to die as long as you've invested in him minimally. We have our accuracy up, evasion down, and evasion up basics over here in the corner if you need help with that. Moving on to our last sector, Sector 5. This is an easy one. Defeat 35 enemies with Gungans, defeat 35 enemies with droids, inflict defense down, and gain critical damage up 60 times. Now, I'm going to use my Gungans because my Gungans are my Dungans, and they fuck. They have been doing so crazy in GAC right now. Defeat 35 enemies with Gungans, inflicting defense down from Boss Nass and Phalanx, critical damage up from Boss Nass and Tarpals, and accuracy up from Boomadir. I can basically do almost everything with this team. I'm going to get droid kills on a JML team. You can throw together a droid team with like Sortie, Chupio, BT1, General Grievous. You can do that, and it's great, but I just feel like it's going to be easier this way with a traditional JML team. Keller and Beck in there if I still need some wins with that team. And Sortie also gives defense down. Droid kills, defense down, critical damage up from Jedi Knight Revan, critical damage up from JML, and winning with Keller and Beck. Now, we see there are a ton of options for critical damage up on basic, and I don't think Moonborn left space for defense down on basic, but I will tell you there are also a lot of options there. Gungan Phalanx, Ben Solo, I'm a Gundy, Saw Gerrera, Commander Luke, Crosshair, Lobot, Temple Guard, Eathcoff, Baby Cowl, L337, and Wedge all apply defense down on basic. All great options to throw in with a JML squad. Finally, for Sector 5, for my other picks, we have our JML team where I just say, hey, throw in Watt and your strongest LS droid and go to town there. I don't think I'm going to need Watt in my team. You might if you're a little lower in the game. My JML squad, once again, Gungan kills. I put Tarpals in here. It doesn't actually matter which Gungan you put in because you are doing damage based on JML's protection. But Tarpals is a Cantina farm, so he is faster to get. So I do know a lot of people finished him first. My Jabba team, simple, right? It's the same thing, but now I have Qursatan and Skiff. Just make sure that you are Qursatan and Bosch. Just make sure you don't throw Skiff in here because Skiff is not a bounty hunter. Critical damage up from Jabba's lead. I'm not sure if that's going to work because the leads are sometimes iffy. I'd love to find that out in 5 days or so. Defense down from Bosch's basic. Win with bounty hunters and evasion down. And then, of course, we have our Inquisitor squad as well. Same thing. Defense down from AoE by 9th, 5th, and Riva, and critical damage up by Grand Inquisitor's AoE. So with all of that said, we have a conquest that does not actually look very difficult right now. And that is a good thing. There are a lot of great team options to get Satele Shan. And if you are somebody that is struggling with your conquest, hit us up on Slice of Otagunga because there are tons of people waiting there to take your call. I mean, who are willing to help you out. Just don't wait till day 13 of Conquest because that doesn't work out. It doesn't help anybody out at all. Get to it right away. Ask your questions. I promise we will help, and we will be tracking the data discs so that we can decide what are the best options for this set. But I will tell you that for myself personally, I am typically looking for 3 Amplify Agonies if that is a set. I am typically looking for a Fortified. I am typically looking for a Ruthless Swiftness, a Leader's Resolve, a Zealous Ambition. Those are the things that I want because they help me the most. I hope that you guys found this helpful. And if you did, don't forget to subscribe because a lot of people do, so that you can find this stuff more often. But with everything said today, peace out. Have a great rest of your day.